Well, hello, and how are you today? I'm Minister William Edward Turner, your pre-engagement coach, and I just wanted to stop by for a minute to answer a question that people have asked me about. And that is, what do you say when your spouse says, or what do you do when your spouse says, I don't want to talk about it? Well, but before we get going, I want to ask you to like this video and share, because there's someone out there who needs the wisdom that's going to come from today's session. Well, I don't want to talk about it during the heat of an argument may be true because it's an emotional time. It's a state where in our relationships where there's something that's come up that just seems to be wearing one or the other through enough stress that they are more angry than anything else and need to calm down before they can talk about it. But usually the only way to get over that or is to get through it so that there's a joint understanding, so that the other person understands what's going on with you. You can understand the perspective which they came from, and then the two of you can come back together to in agreement or agree to disagree. And what happens when you say, I don't want to talk about it, with no explanation, nothing else, it makes the other partner feel that something's wrong, and it means that you don't want to repair it. So that's one of the reasons why it's not a good statement, and spouses don't want to hear that. And in order to make it a better statement, you might want to communicate differently than shutting down the conversation and the communication, because that makes your spouse feel like it's not important or they're not important. And if you feel like I don't want to talk about it, the best thing to do is say, hey, let's talk about it later. Give me a couple hours or two, or I need to take a momentarily mental health break here so that I can get it together and not beat you up with the pillow or whatever the case is, or with my tongue, so I can get it together and we can deal with the issue rather than with my emotions. And so we schedule it. But don't wait until tomorrow. That is not a wise choice. You may feel comfortable sleeping on it, but the other spouse is going to be thinking all night, what did I do? What can I say? What happened? Why is this going on? They're awake all night. And then you wake up in the morning and they may want to talk about it before you go to work, but you may not have had your coffee and you don't talk to anybody in the morning. Or they can't talk about it in the morning because they ain't had their coffee either. But in the morning, stuff comes into play, like your work, your school, getting the kids off. The business of marriage things take priority and push out that conflict that you had the other night, because life still goes on and things got to happen. So by the time you get back to be able to talk about it, what once was as minor as an eyelash in your eye has now become a tree in the living room. Let me read to you what the scripture says about this. Ephesians 4:26 in the Message Bible, it says, go ahead and be angry. You do well to be angry, but do not use your anger as fuel for revenge. Do not stay angry. Don't go to bed angry. Don't give the devil that kind of foothold in your life. Sometimes in relationships, we're right on the edge and the enemy is waiting there, waiting till you entice you to do the wrong thing. One of the things that I say during arguments is never, ever, never, ever, ever leave the house. Because if you leave the house, the mind goes through all different kinds of scenarios of you went over to see somebody else, that other person that you may have been cheating with or talking with or confiding in. That's why we can't get anything going here. Or you went to get inebriated or whatever, and maybe you said you would never do that again, hang out all night or whatever the case is. The mind will go places that it didn't need to go. And so now that all that's tied into the conversation later. And so that's why I say stay in the house. If you got to go sit in the garage, go to the bathroom, go to the other room, whatever you have to do not leave the house. Now, also, let me read the Bible verse in the NIV edition. So we're talking about Ephesians 4:26. And the NIV Bible says, "In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry." I understand that this can be hard sometimes, but God has your best interest at heart. He is telling you how to handle this. And yes, sometimes we have even developed habits from past relationships of I ain't talking about it, and that's our out from dealing with things we need to communicate with, because sometimes we're just frustrated in trying to express our emotions, our feelings, and wondering why I am talking about the West and you're talking about the East, and we're both talking and we're not coming together. So, well, wow, that was a great session. And I want you to remember to like and share, because there's someone out there who needs the wisdom from today's session. I'm Minister William Edward Turner, your pre-engagement coach. And until next time, be blessed eternally.